Do we have access to these documents?
Yes, I'll show you once.
This is like getting uploaded afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm recording now. Okay, so first thing we're gonna go through is the Discord that we've been using. The Bubble Tea Discord is the main Discord where you're gonna find everything, including all the documents. And the main channels we're gonna use are these BTL ones right here. So in the BTL League chat channel, this is where we post all our announcements, questions, notifications, things like that. It's also under pinned messages where we keep the big spreadsheet that I'm going to show you in a second and other important stuff like our hype video.
The hype video is most important.
Yes, the most important thing. Okay, but the actually most important thing is the big doc. So if you ever need this document that has all the teams and whatnot that we're going to go over soon, it's under pinned messages. Scrims is just if you want to set up a scrim so it's a little cleaner. This is basically just for memes. So anything, or just like banter, anything like that, anything that's not like a pressing question or important, actually important to the league.
I'll be pressing the mods to pin my mid-tier list.
Oh, the updated mid tier list
Mm-hmm.
of season 6.
And then these two chats, if you're in lore, that's for you. If you're in Animal Crossing, that's for you, but not for League. And then we have tournament rooms A and B. These are the voice channels that you're going to be using for when we play games. So like team 1, all your team is going to come gather in here. Team 2, you gather in here. In this Discord, we also have the BTL committees chat where we have video committee. This is just when we did the video pretty much. And then the council committee. We'll have to redo this in a bit, but it's essentially one person from every team, probably the captain usually, is in this chat, and we use this chat to make like executive decisions, like if there's like if someone's late to a game, like how do we penalize it, things like that. And then BTL teams chat, this is just where you have all your team chats. So like I'm on team 2, team chat. The rest of you have your own team, whichever team you're on. We'll change the names of this once the team's names are assigned. Um, Only you can see your team. It's like me, Brian, and I think Ginny can see all of them because we're mods, but we're not gonna look at them. And I think that's it for the Discord. Does anybody have any questions about the Discord? How we use it? Anything? Okay, so let's get to the big doc. Okay, so this massive doc is where we keep all the rules, the teams, the schedule, everything like that. So page 1, schedules and standings. This is the schedule and standings from last season, so we need to update this. But you'll see like the records against every single team. You'll see their positions, overall standings, their match scores, and then you'll see here what time each team is actually playing each other, who the winner is, and then that's just their playoff bracket. So once we get this updated, everything will be blank and we'll start filling these in again. And page 2, we have team rosters. So this is just a list of everyone in the league in a nice format where you can see which team they're on. We have name, summoner name, their Discord, so you can contact them through there easily, and what role they're currently assigned to. We also have the sub list on here, which is pretty much the same thing. We have the summoner name, their Discord, so you can find them easily, and what role they play, so you know who to contact depending on who you're trying to sub. Then penalty sheet. This is just where we keep track of all the penalties players and teams have accrued over the season. So like if you're late one day, you'll get a mark for being tardy, just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. These next 3 tabs are all just for stats. So after each game, we pretty much write down, like, was this champion picked, was it banned, so on and so forth. And then this eventually just fills up, and it's pretty much just if you want to look at it and use it, or if you just think it's cool and want to look at it, that's all it's for. And then the same
Is-
for these two. What?
Is there the archive stats page from last season?
I have the last season in a separate doc. I can post that one
Okay.
too after this.
Cool.
And then the same for player stat doodle, except this one's for players. And then the playoff stat is for players, but it's specifically their stats when playoff starts and ends. Okay, the next tab and the longest tab is going to be the rule set. So we're going to try and go over these real quick. So why this exists: to establish a common set of rules and guidelines to avoid conflicts. We promote discussion and conversation in gray area rulings. So this is pretty much just so that everything feels fair while we're playing, because we don't want it just to be like, I don't know, like buck wild everywhere. Everybody's late and it doesn't matter, things like that. Okay. So player definitions and responsibilities. The council, which I went over a little bit in the Discord, consists of the team captain or proxy if the captain's not there. We make decisions based on 2/3 majority basis. Team captain is in charge of scheduling, communicating, dealing with subs. I think we're actually going to change this one and split it up a bit more. But essentially, the team captain just should be like the person who other teams can contact when they need to schedule games or when they need to ask questions. So obviously, don't put everything on your captain. Be responsible yourself. If you have questions, ask. But don't just put everything on one person in your team and expect them to do it all. Banner. Honestly, I don't know why they have this here. This is the person who picks and bans. Player, one of the people playing. Substitute, subs, and then spectator. Okay. When we pick and ban for each game, we use Pro Draft. Just because not everybody owns every champion, it makes it a little easier and more fair. And then I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but basically just to make sure you're paying attention when you're supposed to ban and pick, because in Pro Draft, once the timer gets down to 0, it just auto selects a random character
And
for you.
I would recommend, if you're curious, just do a test run, because it is very, very unintuitive the first time you do it.
Yeah. So it'll go by very fast if you're not paying attention. So please pay attention so that we don't
Yes.
have to remake the pro draft over and over and over. Let's see. Is there anything? This one is pretty important. Trades must occur before the 20-second mark before load-in. So this is once you're in the client and you pick all your champions for your respective players. If you want to do like a lane swap or champion swap, you have to do it before 20 seconds on the timer, on the final timer. This is just to make sure like people are able to like switch runes if they need to, or get set up for a different plan than they expected. And then that comes to the next one. Yes, players can swap lanes. Everybody was given a role at the start, but you do not have to keep that role. We balance based off of people's main roles. So ideally, switching would be a downgrade in most cases. But of course, It's up to you guys. If you want to switch roles, you can. And you don't have to tell teams. You don't have to tell teams if you're lane swapping. Next one, new champions and rework champions will be disabled for 1 competitive week upon their release. So like when Fiddlesticks came out, he would have been banned. When new Volibear came out, he would have been banned for that week. Any new champions that come out, they will be banned for a week. And then that's similar to this one, champions disabled in LCS will also be disabled in BTL until their bugs are patched out.
Are mini reworks count too?
Not mini reworks, like when Wukong had his rework, it was a pretty massive one, but it wasn't really labeled as that.
I'm talking more about like how Silas got his.
What happened with Silas?
When Silas's abilities were like drastically changed.
Yeah,
They
and he was
they
still able to
they got
beat.
rid of his EQ combo and his auto reset. I think same thing like when they touched up Swain again, I don't think he was banned. Not his first rework, but the mini rework. I don't think we usually
Swain
ban
had
for
a
those.
mini rework.
Yeah, they changed like how his Q went through minions and stuff. That's the same level as Silas.
Right. I mean, so for the most part, if it's a small change, then no. If it looks like it's actually a massive change, then we will, because we did that for Wukong earlier last season, whenever that happened. Okay, does anybody have any other questions over pick and banning?
The thing to highlight is if you have a sub, they have to have a role declared.
Yes. So like for, he's talking about for players may swap lanes. Only substitutes must have their roles declared before the game series begins. And that's just so you don't, like, I don't know, mess with the other team. That being said, if you're trying to sub like your mid laner, but the sub you get only plays jungle, you can put your sub in the jungle. You just have to say they're going jungle. You don't have to say who's going mid lane though on your team, just that the sub is going jungle. Okay, substitute guidelines. Pull from the official sub pool first. So that's all the way back in team rosters. The whole sub list is here. Find the sub closest in skill to fit the player who will be absent. The council must approve any subs. The team subbing in a player will not have a vote. So pretty much if you need to sub somebody, your captain is going to come into the council chat and say, hey, I'm subbing blank for blank. Is that okay? And then council will just be like, yes, no. If
How many council votes they?
2/3. We did that earlier.
Okay, but realistically, we're not going to get everybody to respond, right? So
Yeah.
is it just like a specific number they have to hit, unless you have a corresponding number of like downvotes?
We never said number, but just majority.
I think last season didn't we use it was like it had to be approved by 2 people on council, not in the match at all.
Yeah, that's correct. Isn't that what we did?
So we did near
I
the
don't
end of this,
remember.
I think.
We did. It's in the chat. But I think we have more teams this time, more people. How about like 3?
So for, where is it?
Unless somebody has
This
like a
one?
downvote on it, you know what I mean?
Must
Yeah. Makes sense for sub approval only. Like big decisions are still a 2/3.
So this would be must have 2?
I think Brian, you were suggesting 3 because there's 10 teams now.
Yeah, that's more teams. I think we can just get 3.
3 votes to approve sub. Okay. Okay. You must have your subs ready at least 24 hours in advance. This is just to give the other team time to prepare, scout them, because they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And then if the opposing team is informed of a sub within 12 to 24 hours, one first round ban will be taken, and then as it gets closer and closer to game time, we remove more and more bans. And then if a team does not have a sub at the start of the game, the team will automatically forfeit. So make sure you're getting your subs in 24 hours advance. Otherwise, we start taking away bans because it's not fair to the other team who's trying to prepare for you. Teams must inform opposing teams the role and summoner of any subs. And if that sub ends up playing a different role than informed, the subs team will forfeit. Or can forfeit if the opposing team may pause. Teams can sub a maximum of 2 members on their team in any given game. And then during playoff series, we want it down to 1 sub per game, so it feels like your whole team is actually playing. The core team does not have to reveal their roles. So it's like we said above with the lane swap. If your sub is going a different role than the person who's unavailable to play, your other teammates don't have to say where they're going. And then emergencies, we handle case by case with preference towards emergency sub. This is just like if someone, I don't know, something really bad happens like an hour before the game or something like that, and they need to sub, but obviously there's a pretty good reason why they can't. We go into this. And then if for new potential additions to the sub list, it must be run through a league organizer, so me or Brian. New additions will not be considered a part of the official sub list until a week after submission. So if you have somebody who you think would want to be a sub for the season, just let one of us know and we can add them to the list, and then they'll be official subs 1 week after they're added.
How are you and Brian feeling about the size of the sub list right now? Like, would you like us to, if we think we know people who would want to sub, should we reach out to them, or are you chill
think
with this?
You can never really have too many subs. So if you think that people would be interested, you can reach out to them for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then just in case it wasn't clear, that new additions clause is so you don't like be like, yo, I got a friend now sub, and like you just stick them in without vetting. We want to vet subs before you do it, so we're taking out that option.
Okay, does anybody have questions on the sub guidelines? Okay. All chat. Oops.
Wait, did you go over
Okay.
the sub needing to be the same or a lower rank and going down the list that way? Did I just blank out on that?
Yeah, right. That's the first one. So subs should be find the sub closest in skill to the player who will be absent, going down.
Okay.
So like if you're missing a gold player, don't try and get a diamond player to sub for him. Try to go for gold or lower.
And that's so something I think this confused me the very first time I played too, is like even if a gold 3 is closer to your gold 4 that's missing than the silver 4 you have to sub, it's still a silver 4 sub. That's what the rule says, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, within reason at least.
Yeah,
Like
within.
I think in a situation where you're subbing out your gold 4 with like a gold 3, that's something that the council can potentially like approve and be like, hey, I think the general guideline is you go down, but like, yeah, something like gold 4 to gold 1 or something is probably something that we should decline and not have happen.
Cool.
Okay. So all chat. We will penalize all chatting in the window past 2 minutes in the game, and before 30 seconds until Nexus explosion. You may all chat during pauses for issues and must keep chatting issue related. And then some things that aren't okay to type, not even close BB, wow I suck, OMG Smite King. So this is pretty much just so we don't like cause tilt in the game because somebody's just trying to BM. It doesn't feel fair to the other team who's just trying to play, and it doesn't feel as competitive because you're putting in another aspect that doesn't need to be there. So yeah, just no all chatting at the end. Just say GG, whatever, or if there's a pause, keep it about the pause.
Those examples are there because people have said those in our games. Please don't do that.
Any questions about all chatting?
Yeah, what kind of penalty do you get for typing "not even close, BB"? Wow, I suck. OMG, Spike King just once.
You get
There's a penalty sheet. Show them the
yeah,
penalty.
yeah, I would know.
Yeah, but like the penalty sheet, that it doesn't. I don't actually know what those mean. Like what happens if I get one demerit?
Brian backhands you.
Hell yeah.
I just want to know if it's worth it to use my one.
One league fine.
No one 3B.
Honestly, I never actually determined the right punishment, but we said something like 3 strikes and then you were gone
Oh, okay.
or removed from further seasons.
Oh, okay. Do they carry over?
It's like a gone.
No. Do not carry over.
Okay.
Nobody has ever gotten 3 strikes.
Okay.
Oops.
You could be the first.
Well, it sounds like it might be worth skirting the line.
Maybe give Man Puppet a quote unquote pardon. We built it for the Man Puppet, and he definitely tardiness.
No, it was fine. That was before, but yeah, he's okay.
Adam, if you want to BM me, I'm gonna goad you into BMing me 3 times. So be prepared.
Okay, so spectating guidelines. At the end of a game, both teams should not enter the spectators' Discord lobby until at least 3 minutes have passed to avoid spoilers for the game. There is a 3-minute delay when you're in game versus when you're spectating. So yeah, don't spoil for anybody, and also don't post in any of the chats, like screenshots, anything like that, until 3 minutes after. Spectators should not go into the team Discord channels before, during, or after the games unless given permission by the team in chat. Exceptions may be made by arbiters who pass information to help expedite the game process. So that's, where are they? Oh gosh. That's these channels here, the tournament room A and B. If you're a spectator, don't just hop into their room after a game, because you don't know what they're talking about, anything like that. Just wait for them to join the chat on their own. Both teams must use designated rooms in the bubble tea chat. So it's those 2 tournament rooms again. Those are the only rooms we want people in, so we can make sure everybody's accounted for. Streamers must be in lobby by schedule game start unless both teams have agreed to wait. So basically, we rather have games start on time than make sure somebody's there to like record the games. Spectators may not talk or message players in or between games about strategy play, etc. So like if it's like a best of and you think a team should really pick this one champion for the next game, don't message them in between and be like, hey, I think it would be a really good idea for you to do this, or anything like that. Any questions about spectating guidelines? Okay. Tardiness. If a player is not in lobby by game time, the team will lose 1 ban every 5 minutes, up until 15 minutes, at which point they will forfeit. If a player communicates that they will be late by more than 15 minutes, their team will forfeit. Rule will be enforced unless there has been prior notice. Prior notice about lateness must be given 6 hours beforehand and given to the opposing team captain. Opposing captains must approve. So basically, honestly, just be on time. If you're not going to be on time, communicate that you will not be on time. But everything is going to be scheduled out. So you should, if you said you were available at a certain time, just be there. Otherwise, your team is going to lose bans and potentially forfeit. We did have one team forfeit last season because nobody was notified that they weren't going to be there. Any questions on tardiness?
Yeah, for any emergencies or anything like that, that would be under the emergency guidelines,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we just go to case by case for emergencies.
Yeah, a lot of nurses are generally treated by case, for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then scheduling. So for scheduling, we use this website called When Is Good. That's pretty much it. It just lets everybody fill in their available times for whatever like days you want to have them fill it out for. Availability info must be submitted via What Is Good by Thursday midnight PST for the coming week to their team captains. So basically, like their captain or whoever on the team wants to do the scheduling will say, hey, fill out this When Is Good. And then everyone on the team is responsible for filling that out the Thursday for the coming week. And then after that, we want the games to be scheduled the following day, Friday, midnight PST. And that's by both teams. Games should be scheduled with a preference for Sunday and Monday nights. This one, honestly, we don't adhere to as much because people's schedules always change.
We've got a lot of people who work
Yeah.
on LCS.
Yeah, so honestly, as long as your games are scheduled in a timely manner, it doesn't matter really which day they're on. As long as, both teams are aware, it's set, everybody knows, it's fine. Scheduling rule violations will result in a strike. 3 strikes result in deferred status for playing in future seasons. Note the times in when is good are times that are actually 100% good. So if you say like I'm available every day after 5 p.m., you better make sure you're available every day after 5 p.m.
Take into account commute times, people.
Yeah. So just make sure you're available when you are available. Because then captains or whoever it is that's doing the scheduling is going to look at it and say, oh, this person said they're available then, so it's okay. And then if they go back and then you say, no, I'm actually not okay then, it's a massive waste of time for everybody. These rules apply to the regular season and playoffs. We just keep it consistent. Once a game is scheduled, put the game date/time in the schedule and standings tab and here in the BTL Discord. So that's just to notify everybody in the league when a game is happening, so maybe they can plan to be there and watch it, or whatever. And then put the game in the put the game date time in the schedule and standings tab. That's over here, the schedule standings tab, and then you would stick it right here in the date time section. And then obviously you'd see the correct team names once we have that sorted. If a captain can show they have attempted to schedule with the opposing team, chat log screenshots, then their team will be exempt from any schedule-related strikes. So this is pretty much just so like a team isn't penalized if somebody, like if one person just didn't fill it out or something like this, not everybody is punished for it. Does anyone have scheduling questions? Okay. For best of 3 series, these will only happen during playoffs. think we're still gonna do best of threes for every playoff game. I'm not 100% sure yet though. So during best of threes, games will be separated by 10 minutes from next explosion to the start of pick ban. So in between games, teams will have time to like re-strategize, go to the bathroom, eat something, anything. All games must be played in one day back to back unless there's absolutely no recourse. So pretty much we just want everything on the same day to happen once, because if you go the next day, maybe people aren't in it as much, or they forgot what happened, anything. Teams must give side selection by the 3-minute marker after next explosion to a spectator, preferably council member. The spectator will immediately give the opposing team their next side at the 3-minute mark. So yeah, after a game ends, whichever team is doing side selection, just give it to somebody, not the other team directly. And then that's just so they have more time to prepare for what their pick band's gonna look like. Okay, questions on best of threes?
I know David suggested scrims, by the way.
Okay.
That's harder. So like
behavior, no BM and all chatting during games or in lobby between best of X games.
Emotes are allowed.
Yeah, emotes are fine. Taunts are fine. There's no all chat is the main thing. And then teams violating this may have bans docked from the next game. Okay, prizing. First place, everybody on the first place team gets 2,000 RP, everybody on second place gets 1,000, and first place gets the special BTL Discord flare. And that's, let's see if I can find it.
Oh yeah,
that's
you
like
have
the
one.
one I have, the reigning bubble tea champs. And then you see it up here too. So that'll be there all the way until the next season. And then it gets removed. Cool. Well, it'll get removed at the end of the season.
There should be like a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
The Hall of Famers.
Oh man, Ginny, 3-time Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
We could just restart this and say this is season 1 then, since it's franchised.
The new season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on the pricing? Does anybody want to donate to the pricing?
That sounds like a very specific question. That sounds very specific.
No, it's okay. Does anybody have any questions though? Okay, tiebreakers. So this is like pretty much moving into playoffs. How we break up ties is most likely we'll have one. So tiebreakers at the end of the regular season will be broken by head-to-head record. All scenarios below will occur if the head-to-head is 1-1.
Which only happens if it's a double round robin.
Mm-hmm. If the two-way tie would be for first and second place, tiebreaker game will be played with the team with faster cumulative victory times given side select. If the two-way tie would be for second and third place, a tiebreaker game will also be played. And the same thing with the team with faster cumulative victory times given side select. If any other two-way tie exists, the team with faster cumulative victory times will be declared the winner of the tie. So for faster cumulative victory times, it's just the average, your average game time, average victory game time. So if you're
Which I'll be handling.
Yeah, the stats.
How many times does each team play each other team?
Usually it's single round robin.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the
So
teams.
then how can you have
In the
head-to-head
past,
ties with the.
I think it's in the past there was double round robins.
Yeah, and we don't have the
Oh,
schedule
okay.
fully set out now, so we're just going over this in case.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. And then three-way ties. We don't really have to worry about this too much, but it's here. And then, yes, if there are bigger ties, we will do a big brain think. Okay, so that was a lot for the rules and guidelines. Does anybody have any questions on these overall or anything? Okay, then we'll go to the last tab, the video archive tab. So this is just where we keep recordings of every game that we have. We like to do YouTube. I'll link the YouTube at the end of this too, but we have a YouTube channel where we archive every game recording. Pick a band. This is just going to be a screenshot of what was picked and what was banned during the pro draft. And then the end screen is just the in-game and the in-client end-game screen that shows who won, who they played, what their KDA was, that stuff. And then we have it for, we'll have to add more weeks probably, but we have it for every week, and then we have it separated for playoffs and the best of threes.
Additionally, you'll see the match ID, which corresponds to when you go to your match history on the website, I believe.
Yeah, you have to
Is it the first or second number?
Let me pull it up because it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. I bring it up because I care about this.
Let's see. No. Match history. So what is it? You would click on, go to your match history, you click on whatever game you want, and then view on the web. And then the match ID is, oh my god, it's this number.
Is it the middle one? Yeah.
It's this specific number. I should probably take a screenshot of that because it's kind of awkward. Oh wait, or is it this one? Oh geez, no, I'm pretty sure it's this one. I'll look at it and post something. Oh my god. Okay, but that's pretty much for everything BTL. Does anybody have any questions before we end? Okay. And then one last thing that I'm about to send out. I made this Google form for finalizing the franchise team name options. So if you guys weren't aware, we're moving to franchise team names. People on the teams will switch every season, but the names will remain the same. This is mainly so we can have consistent logos, more useful team names that don't get just forgotten season after season. And so we can kind of like build hype on stream with these archetypes that we created. So I will send that out right after this. But does anybody have any questions on franchise team names, what it means, anything like that? Oh, okay. Well then, that is all we got. I'll post to YouTube and whatnot. But that is it for our orientation this time.
Oh, I have one thing to clarify.
Okay.
As the stat person in the video archives, if you do the screenshot, include the time, please.
I know who that was directed at.
So the biggest thing is that last season match history website was like having fits throughout, so it messed with me building the player stat sheets because I couldn't actually find end game times.
Right, so just to make sure, what's my league client showing?
Oh, you have an update.
Yeah, in the league client, just make sure you take a picture of the entire end screen, even if you get like your entire client in it. Just screenshot all of it so you don't miss the timer. Okay, and that is all.